Several years ago, when I was in a junior role in an organization, I had the opportunity of being a part of a sales team. So during my tenure with the sales team, there were two categories of colleagues of mine who used to operate from a specific office room within the regional office of that company, which used to house the entire building, or that particular entire building was the regional office of that particular organization. And in one room, or in one office room, there was the sales team, which included me and other colleagues from the sales team and a couple of sales analysts. So the sales analysts were folks who used to do a lot of analysis, and those were the days when each person didn't have his or her own laptop or even desktop. And the organization was a sales driven organization. So what me and my other colleagues in the sales team used to do is we used to go on our sales visits, and once we are done with it, on the same day evening or latest by next morning, we used to actually fill up certain sheets with the details of whom we have met, as well as what discussion transpired pertaining to a further requirement for our organization solutions from the client's end. So the details were all filled up within that particular sheet and were handed out to these two analysts who used to enter it within the CRM or the company's system in terms of capturing all the data pertaining to the client's requirements, as well as information pertaining to how many calls or visits that we made in a specific day. So out of those two analysts, I remember one day, as I was sitting one morning and filling up my sheets for the previous day, the sales or the call sheet for the previous day, I realized that one of the sales analysts just opened the door, stormed in, and took a piece of paper, or possibly a paper page from the printer which was there, and literally started writing his resignation. And once he had written, he just again stormed out of the room and went and submitted the resignation letter to our boss, who was the regional sales manager for that particular organization. So that was a very surprising event. Of course, I was at the initial stage of my career, and I later realized that there was some disagreement or some issue between the sales analyst and our boss, because of which he decided to abruptly resign, and definitely this resignation happened in a fit of rage. Even post that, at certain points of time through my career, I have come across the scenario of certain peers or colleagues resigning in the fit of rage. Now the problem is, each person has his or her own justification, and all of us think we are right. However, the moot question is whether we should be resigning in such a manner. Should we resign in an abrupt manner or in a fit of rage? My definite suggestion is no. Now, taking the instance of this particular sales analyst, this ex-colleague of mine, with whom I didn't have too much of acquaintance or rapport with, because he left during the initial phase of my tenure with that organization. However, it's been close to 20 plus years that this event happened. However, this event is still etched in my memory, and more so because of the way he just stormed, wrote his resignation on a piece of paper in his own handwriting, and just stormed out and gave his resignation to the boss and just left office after that. So that entire sequence of events somewhere didn't bring a very positive impression about this particular gentleman in my eyes. I'm sure there was a different way of doing things, or there would have been a different way of doing things. I understand that this gentleman would be young in age. There would also be the sentiment of not taking anything too lightly, and also this point in terms of reacting. However, we need to understand that at the end of the day, any such reaction in a corporate or working environment, it's always going to impact our positioning. So me remembering this particular gentleman after more than 20 years, that's a testimonial to the fact that such negative instances are rarely forgotten. Although I have nothing to do with the gentleman I've not even seen the gentleman since the time that this event happened. However, somewhere it has positioned that person in a wrong way, and it doesn't augur well for someone's career. So my suggestion is, regardless of how angry or temperamental someone may be, you will have to hold your horses and ensure that you don't react regardless of the situation. At times, our bosses may be wrong. There may be certain situations where our boss may say something bitter to us. However, the way we react is within our control. What is not within our control is what our boss communicates to us or what someone else communicates to us. However, how we react is going to be extremely vital. And one point we need to understand, the word of mouth travels at a very high speed. So even after this person left, there was a lot of discussion about what this person did was right or wrong. So also there were a lot of gossips going around. So that adds further to the negativity, and that hampers the positioning of that particular individual. So irrespective of whatever situation, please ensure that you address every challenge in a cool, calm and composed manner. In the fit of a rage, or possibly at times a certain moment may make you upset, try to be cool, try not to react. Because at the end of the day, what matters as a working professional, in addition to your talent and capabilities, your personal brand and your reputation matters a lot. Because today, you're working with a certain set of people. They may be your colleagues later on, or possibly there may be reference checks with someone, at times formally, at times informally. So you have to ensure that you look at it from a long-term perspective. Just getting upset, resigning abruptly, not serving notice period, telling your employer that you want to be relieved as on that date. Of course, if you have some other reason which may be valid, like a health reason or some other reasonable purpose, then it's a different scenario. However, if you're going to be resigning abruptly or just going to put down your papers just because you've got angry because something was communicated with you, is definitely not done. In a workplace scenario, you will have to act with diplomacy whether you like it or not. You can't be too straightforward and you can't display too much of emotions, because at the end of the day, the biggest loser is going to be you. Everyone will just look at you and pass their own judgment. I know that many of us are not bothered about how others judge us or others perceive us, but however, how people perceive us, unfortunately, is important, especially as we climb up the ladder. There are a lot of individuals who I've worked with. Their careers have got hampered because of a lack of positive perception or impression about them. So I'm sure you don't want to be that particular person. So ensure that when you're working with an organization, you try to be as cool as possible. Do not react in any adverse scenario. Even if you are not happy due to some reason you have to resign, do that in a proper manner. Serve your notice period and walk away from the organization without burning any bridges. This is a few points of advice to you. Thank you very much for your time.